Right. Do you know what? I think I'm going to cook this with just that one burn. Where are we? Camera's up first.
That's all right.
We're talking sea fishing, guys.
We are talking sea
Not
fishing,
carp
not
fishing.
carp fishing.
A lovely aerodynamic shape, these ones. There's no question they're a nice shaped bomb and they cast well. They're coloured. I suppose medium or hot. The captain's stupid here, didn't realise we got a load of pallet wood there anyway.
Yeah, so if you're using very small baits and you still want to wrap them up tight,
Yes,
you've got a small needle version, that's the big version.
You can see the holes in the spark arrestor up the top there. Right folks, I'm tempting Providence. I'm down on the beach, same old spot, same place I go. Always going to go further down. Don't shoot, I'll pay. Well, I won't pay because I normally would like to fish down there. I haven't fished down there for years since the council charged, is it £8 a day, £8 what was used to be free through the winter. So I won't pay the car park, so I come away from where I really want to fish and come up here, and that £8 goes towards buying some nice bait. First thing out of the box is I'm going to get rid of this, a banana. What do you think? Are they bad luck? Does it apply to beach fishing or any fishing? Because on a boat it's supposed to be really bad luck. I know it's possibly a load of rubbish. It comes from the boats they used to carry the bananas. Their cargo would rock and shift in the old galleon times, and the cargo would shift and stay shifted. Apparently that's what it was, and the bananas would all slide to one side and the boat would sink. The chair's okay. So I got 3 rods out. I'm going to dispose of this guy because I am superstitious, and just in case there's any truth in it, I better eat it. A cold easterly and a cold, hard, raw, semi-raw banana. It's got to go. Right, so change the specs. Taking a huge gamble on the mucky old day. I'll put the shades on. Basically because I'm looking, not because I want to look cool, because I'm actually looking up at the rods and there's a glary white cloud there. The problem with the south coast beaches, a lot of them are, or the popular ones, is the word popular. That's right. So come May, it's going through to September, it's going to be rammed with people, surfboarders, paddleboarders, everything going right past your lines. And swimmers, they're all entitled to use it, of course they are. But it makes it difficult for fishing in the daytime. The only time to fish during the summer, I find, is at night. And I live 55 miles on from the sea, so it makes for a very long journey. At my age, I've done all that, don't need to do it again. So I'm just coming for a little chill out session. The word is chill, with an easterly wind, never good. Northeasterly, so what I'm fishing is 2 hours up and about 3 or 4 down, probably 4 down. No idea. They're reasonable mid-tides, they're not small and they're not big, they're not neap and they're not springs, they're halfway. But it's just, I basically can't get down there to get the top of the tide where I live, you know, without leaving really early in the morning. So I thought I just timed the tides so that I can arrive and have a little bit of flood, a bit of slack water and as much ebb as I want, by which time I probably would have run out of bait. As yet, no bites. No surprise there. I've got one in close to the corner at the end of the groin, because I sometimes feel that the fish will come along, hit the groin, which for those in foreign countries is the breakwater, if you like, hit the breakwater, wooden breakwater. Here's the land, here's the sea. They hit the breakwater in here, and then they can't go any further. They've got to go out and they've got to go round. So I feel round the end of those, it sort of narrows your channel down, and more fish might come round there and come in the open plan of the actual open beach, if that makes sense. So the further the tide comes up, the bigger area is blocked for the fish. At low water, they just swim straight past, don't they? But coming up to high water, they've got, I don't know, 100 yards, 80 yards, something like that, or breakwater to go along and go all the way around. So the more fish that come into the beach bays, the more, hopefully, towards high water will go out around the end. Listen, that's my theory. If I blank, you'll say, what, a load of old twaddle, but it stood me in good stead scratching out fish on a sort of scratchy day when you just want to catch anything. I'll tell you what else is interesting. I talked to the guy in the tackle shop, just asked him, you know, how trade is and all that stuff. And I said, how's the bait going? You know, how's the bait digging going? He said, well, we're not getting a great deal of bait. So I said, why are you not getting the bait come through? Oh, he said, they're digging it out. I mean, this is for years and years. They've been digging it out. Over digging, that's the word I'm looking for. They're over digging. And obviously there's loads and loads of shops up and down this stretch of the coast, especially around a high density population area. You are going to get a lot of people want to go fishing, they're going to want to get through the bait, and you know, one assumes if you're a bait digger it's quite good business. It's expensive stuff now, but listen, I've dug some bait, it's not that easy. If you have half a pound of bait, it takes quite a lot of effort. So the current time I'm talking is what, nearly £10 for half a pound. But £10 sort of well spent, because I haven't got to do it. And of course you've got the petrol to go where the digging grounds are, you've got all the effort, and that £10 I could be spending fishing here, can't I? An extra hour or so's fishing. Bearing in mind I don't live near the beach. A lot of guys don't. They don't live. If you live on the seaside, happy days, go and dig your bait, go fishing, it's lovely. But if you don't, you've got to travel, you have to take all these things into account. But what he was saying, I asked him, well, what about all the farm bait? Do you not do that? You used to do it. He said, no, we're not doing that anymore. He said, it doesn't keep at all. anglers complaining, the next day it's all dead. Well, for me, it's all dead anyway because I'm going home with it and I live inland. But I use all mine up. That's why I don't buy, you know, say a pounder bait when I try and scratch out half a pound. That'll sort of get me through a session. But he said it doesn't keep, and I found that before. Also, I found it seems to catch better, the worms that I dug. But you've got to look at the size of some of the worms they're digging now. They're tiny. Now they're selling it to you by the weight. And I suppose the digger must think there's a worm, there's a worm, there's a worm, keep putting it in the bucket, just get the weight up to get the money. I understand that sort of business, isn't it? But when you start getting really small worms, you're taking the small ones, there's not going to be much to come through in the future years. I've no idea on the lifespan of a ragworm, I have to say it, something somebody else out there might tell me about. But again, not looking good, not many fish. They tell me the fish has been absolutely shocking. Beach fishing, shore fishing, you go into boats, happy days, there's fish out there. Slower, but you know, not what it was, but it's still tough. It mostly seems to be big tides, spring tides, night fishing. That's what it seems to be overall along the south coast. Hopefully one day it'll all come back, but I'm kind of sceptical about it. I am here in it to win it, as they say. You've got to be in it to win it. I don't expect to see one other angler. It's a Friday, I fish a Friday, I try and keep away from weekends, too many people. So it's lovely and peaceful, and the cold wind is northeasterly. As you can see, nobody is walking along the beach. There'll be a few out later on in the afternoon, I guess. Water sort of looks okay, it's not clear and it's not overly coloured. It's just a fishing trip where one fish, you could save the day. Other bait I got out there is squid. I've been thawing that out. Again, they used to be about £7.50 for a £5 box, was it? £4 or £5. Now they're £6.50 for a £1 box. Wowee. So I'm stripping them. I've got one decent sized bait out there in case there's a bass or a cod. Oh God, you've got to laugh, haven't you? A cod out there. Or strips for smaller fish. You can see here the various parts of shingle where it goes from beach to shingle right up to the top there, how it's been filled in for, say, defence, sea defences, and yet the sea's still drawing it back out again, and will always do, I feel. Well, it's been close to an hour. I had one wind in. Baits are not chewed at all by the crabs, which I find curious. No crabs, don't understand that this time of year. I've had a bit of a walk along the beach just to see what sort of food items has been washed up, and not very much, to be honest. Only one species of shellfish that seems predominant at the moment, and that's this time of year. I'll show you what they are. So I've split them up a bit, put them on the top here so you can see them. Hopefully you'll see these. Predominantly years ago, when I was a kid, and this is like 65 years ago, the beaches here were absolutely rolling in these, which are slipper limpets. Allegedly an invasive species, I believe, and you're not allowed to even look at them now. I'll probably go to prison for handling these shells, but we used to use them all the time. After a storm, they get washed out, the inside of the body would get washed out, and the bass especially, and the flounders when they were around used to take these with relish, I can assure you. There's an unusual one I found walking along. This is in 300 yards of beach combing, guys. That's going 3 breakwaters up and down, so not a great deal. This one here is a razorfish, which would sit in the sand. It would be closed up like this, and just below the sand it would be, and you used to put salt in the hole to draw them up, and then they would come up for the salt, pour you know, just coarse table salt in the holes, and they used to come up like that. Very good bait for bass and flounders, I would say, especially in Ireland. They're a popular bait, and down the west country you don't see many more. They're more of a clean beach type of shellfish, so they're not going to be found on all this broken stuff you know, where it's all shingle like that. It's going to be on a flat sandy beach. But it's a razorfish, which is sort of something of a rarity. Another one they get down here, again not a lot of, are the mussels. You can see they will be folded up. I'll fold this one up, beautiful colours in them. So it'll be folded up like that, pop, it just broke because it's dry. And that will be attached to generally rocks or boulders on the bottom. Or you can get just whole beds, there'll be beds of them. They don't get a huge amount here because there's not a big rocky area. I believe these are now sticking to the sea defences, you know, that they're putting up. The big, huge, monstrous granite rocks. So you've got mussels, but the predominant one that I found seems to be this. And these are, I'm calling these whelks. Now, I think the dog whelk is a really big one, but they do catch these in pots, in whelk pots, for eating. I've not done a lot of good. They're very, very tough. And if you have a sea bait out, the whelks will come along and they will eat the bait off the hook. So they're a very sort of predatory type of shellfish, whereas limpets aren't so much, you know, the whelks are. And an empty whelk shell, you would get other occupants take up residence in there. Would be hermit crabs, tiny little baby hermit crabs would start off as using these as a shell and crawl in there and then grow and then crawl along. And hermit crabs are very good if you can get them out. And then they get rolled around and eventually they get holes in them. But they could be leftovers from whelk pots, cleaned off and that type of thing, I don't know. But there's quite a nice pretty little abundance of shellfish there. Keeps me amused, but not a lot compared with what they used to be. Years ago, my golly, there was loads of fish you catch. You go along the beach, pick up the shellfish, they're all washed up after a storm, open them up, put them on the hook, with all with cotton, fire them out, flounders, plaice, bass. Now, I can't catch anything with ragworm and squid. Mind you, I haven't got that on the hook, have I? It's colder, the wind's come up, it's gone round with a bit more east in it. It's coming in this way a bit more. I've got about an hour left for high water and it's as dead as a door now. Generally down the south coast, and they're really, really good bait. This is just if you like, the skeleton of the cuttlefish, the bone, and the old budgies used to like chewing on this stuff to sharpen their beaks apparently. So used to find dozens of these years ago, not so many now. Not so many of anything now, is there? Let's face it. Well, this is how fast it changes, people, to win. It's just about top of the tide and it's just come out of nowhere. It's backed up and gone, or is it veered? I always get mixed up between backing and veering winds. It's gone from northeast to southeast now. If you check out there, it's crashing over the side here, all wet. I'm hoping it's only the wind pushing this up there and I don't have to move all my shelter. You can see it's nasty black over there. A little bit of weak sunshine up here, but I can't really sit out on it because it's too windy. It's blowing about 20 knots out there. It's dragged my lines right round, so just as well I got grip leads on because that's going to at least hold them there and thereabouts. Be very surprised there's not any small bass around, but listen, who knows the way the fishing is lately. But it's certainly changed big time. If I come out from the inside, you'll see. Get back inside here. These are godsend, these things, these shelters like this, especially with the wind and the rain. Bit of a pain putting them up, but a shame they're not a little bit bigger out there. But it is what it is, and it's keeping the wind off me, the cold wind. I'm starting to bulk up the worms a bit more, make bigger baits, so I'm just going to plough through the worms. I feed a blank somehow. Well, people, it's still howling. I've had to move the angle of the shelter here, twist it around because it's gone right southeasterly, so it's nasty, nasty, horrible. Not one bite. I'm on full worms now, taking the squid off. I've got to use the worms up. It is nearly 2:30, so it's about an hour down on the tide. I even had to put the flap up this side a bit, trying to keep the wind off me. It's freezing. Well, it is what it is. We're going to have some blazing weather, and then we'll all be moaning about it's too flat and the sky's too bright and there's too much sun. It puts the fish off. I mean, this should be bass territory now. I know southeast wind's not great. What does bother me on this south coast here is where they put these sea defences up. They sprayed millions of tons of gravel up here. Now, in amongst that gravel, I guess it's not graded, it's just sucked out the seabed. There's going to be sand, isn't there? So I feel, let's say the ecology, I've mentioned it before, the ecology is flat out there. All the weeds, the crabs, the crustaceans, the sea worms, the sea snails, everything's out there, starfish, whatever. Then they dump all this stuff up. Then along comes a storm. And you can see by the ridges, you can see by the ridges up here, how much has been washed down. That was never like that when I was a kid. It was never that high, okay, the back. Now that's been done with a bulldozer, because I've watched them do it, I filmed them doing it. That's the sea defences that they sprayed more shingle up there. But there's a ledge over there, you can see it just washes back out. That has washed all the way back down to here. I can tell you that. That was never like that years ago. It would come down in a smooth gradient of shingle, and about midway would be sand, hard sand. We always walked on hard sand. Now the shingle goes way out, and I think that smothered the inshore ecology of the seabed. We need somebody out there snorkeling or sub-aqua gear with cameras that's old enough to know what the seabed looked like, say 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Because there's nobody old enough to say, oh, but it wasn't like that out there, was it? You see what I mean? That's the thing. That's the problem with the rivers. The other thing, I might as well have a rant. I might as well. I'm in my own little bivvy. The other thing is, we know the rivers in the UK are trashed from the sewage being dumped in there. We know that. But that sewage goes down the rivers, doesn't it? That's why it's killing all the rivers off. Well, it goes into the sea. Will it just hang around what we call the littoral zone? It comes along and goes along the beach areas. Well, apparently it does, according to some of the beach people, surfers and stuff like that, who know the sewage is in there. Well, that sewage must kill whatever little life there is in there as well. Surely, I don't know. I'm just theorising here, guys. Somebody else might want to row in there with a few comments of what they think it is. But I can only speak for this piece of beach here, 2-3 miles, something like that. Almost since the sea defences have been built, I can feel when I wind my grip net in, it's bumping and jerking across a bar out there. And I think it's like these bars, these humps, but out there, if that makes sense. So unless I can cast 250 yards, which I can't, then I'm not going to be in what I would call the natural area. But of course, as soon as I catch a fish, my theory might change. My theory won't be changing today somehow, but I will tough it out. I'm going to tough it out as long as I can. It takes one fish to turn it around. Well, guys, we're getting near the end of it. A few worms left down there. Not a thing. The worms are coming in as good as they went out. Getting blasted by the wind, so I'm not getting much distance, but it doesn't matter. Huge piece of weed there, which I don't need. Plenty of distance. Just horrendous out here. Why do I do it, eh? Why do I do it? Maybe I'll drop one short. This is a cast. This is the cast. I can't believe it's 3:30. I think I nodded off to sleep. Well guys, you can tell the way I'm wrapped myself up. It's really cold. It's crazy. Another gentleman's just comes from Farnham, so he's had a bit of a drive. He hadn't lived in the scene. He's given me some spare agua. I thought he was bringing me a cheeseburger. His name's Graeme. Thanks, Graeme. I thought it was a cheeseburger. Oh, what a generous chap. Cold freezing evening, I'd have had that. But he's given me a few extra agua. I think he dug them himself. I'm reckoning. I don't know. They're totally different if you look. They're much, much fresher, slimier. I've got a feeling you might have dug those yourself. So thank you for that, Graeme. Well, if I don't use them on this trip, I'll try and use them on another trip. I've moved my rods down because the tide, as you can see, is falling right down. The wind has just got an edge to it. It's about 5:10. Way over there on the Isle of Wight, I can see it's raining in that valley. And unfortunately, that the other Graeme who came up just said that he's getting out of it fast. He's brought his wife as well, and she's definitely not impressed with the cold. He's gone. Easterly wind, he said he's never ever done any good in easterly wind. He's been all day, he's had not a bite as well, so I'm not alone. I'm in good company. There's another guy down there as well. I haven't seen him wind anything in. So we're down to the last 20 minutes because he said at 6 the rain's coming in as well, so I definitely don't want to get rain before I get back in the car and lug all the gear back and pack up. Hate packing up in the rain. I imagine a lot of you guys do as well. I can't say I've sort of enjoyed it. I mean, I suppose I have enjoyed it in a way. At least I've got out. I've done 10 days of work. I haven't been out for about, I don't suppose I've been down the beach for 2 months. Not by the time this film goes up. Obviously, I'll have been out loads of times, hopefully. But it just goes to show, you know, the old winter fishing is when I do most of my beach fishing is in the winter. Because it's dark, I like fishing in the dark. I do like fishing in the dark. I do way better in the dark than do in the daytime. Unless you're down the West Country or Ireland or somewhere with deep water, close in, rocks, happy days, clear water. But open beaches, flat open beaches, not great. Right, 5-minute warning, I think, people. Oh, the other guy's winding in now. It's a tough one. Well, rain starting, guys. I think it's time to call it quits. I've got one last wind in, which I'm going to do by taking my sunglasses off, which has made no difference at all. I ate the banana, which is normally bad luck. Didn't make any difference at all, did it? Put the glasses on. Maybe that was bad luck. Maybe that was bad luck. Before winding, I'll put these on. Put the old drivers back on, otherwise I'll be going down the A27 the wrong way and end up at Brighton. Well, that was a shame. It's the way it is. Thanks for sticking with us. Don't go away because I'm going to think up something else I'm going to show you guys. I've got to go fishing somewhere. Float fishing for roach. Won't be on the beach again. Especially for roach. So don't go away. I'm going to find something else to put up. to make up for this miserable, abject failure of a blank again. Well, I don't speak with forked tongue. Yes, it was a blank. I do have blanks the same as everybody else, but rather than just only put up success stories, if I blank, I blank. I have no problem putting it up. It's what real fishermen do. They have blanks. Anyway, let's pop out for something a little bit different and make up for catching no fish at all in some sketchy old conditions, and pop out and see where I've been working on a tree house with Mike from TA Outdoors. Well, the leaves are coming down now, people. Just look at the lovely colours here. And look at them from underneath, you can still see the green, as it were. And the sun's going down, late afternoon, autumn sunshine coming through the trees. I'm up here in Mike's woodland. I'm going into, he calls it a tree house, I'm calling it a stilt house. I'm going to be doing a tackle talk in there, and he's fitted a new stove, so I'm going to have a cook up, because I am pretty well starving. It's just nice to come up, peace and quiet. Here he's got a sort of mixed woodland with quite a lot in, I was going to say, the second half of beech trees, real big mature beech trees. We've got one we're waiting for Ryan to come and get down. It's a widowmaker right over the top of us, unfortunately. So that'll be down. But I think you'll agree, the colours here, a carpet of leaves, all sort of rusty, coppery coloured from the beech trees. They're actually floating down as I speak. Beautiful colours up here. So here, folks, let me introduce you guys who haven't seen it. Many of you will have followed us with the pallet house build, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. This one is a stilt house, I'm calling it, because it's on stilts, but it's a tree house for the grandchildren. With the grandchildren being up here, they've had marshmallows and stuff. It's all on mics. Now, if you want to see this build of this place that we did, which was like a labour of love, mostly all pallet wood, cost nothing to top off. Obviously, I had some left at my store, 4x4 left over for the bases. The underneath is all Mike's wood from here, from not ones we've sawn down, ones that have fallen down, or dead ones, dead standing they call it. When they're better off not coming down until you want that wood, because they're all dead anyway. They either fall down in a storm and you cut them up. It's better than letting them rot. So there's solid oak floor in there. So we built it like this. We can have cook-ups down here as well while we're working, doing the general forestry management, woodland management, that type of thing. Beautiful colours. Look at that, actually, it's raining leaves. So we've got to build a staircase here. Hopefully it won't be a spiral one. And we built, as you can see here, a hatch. It's a secret hatch that only everybody that turns up here can see. And there you go, is the inside. Oh, I see, that's the stove he's built. So let me get the gear up here. I think the first thing I can do before I start talking about tackle is get something cooking. It tells me that I need this pipe with a spark arrestor there. You see it with all the holes in it? That's to stop the sparks going anywhere. It's called a spark arrestor. We've got it on other log burner type things we've had. So I'll get this fixed up and then hopefully we get it fired up. So I can see what he's done. He's brought it out rather than going through the roof. He's brought it out from the side. This one came from his other cabin that he built out of ash. Might get one more out of that. Yeah, his other cabin he built for when we got a work job up here. In the winter, you need to keep cold, and he's turns it upside down so the rain doesn't go down inside the pipe. So all we've got to do this is climb up. I'm assured. Oh, yuck! See what I mean about water? Twist it around. Insert the long flue with a spark arrestor. Maybe wants a bracket coming off here in the future. Windy, that can sort of blow around a bit. Right, I'll leave it up because I'm going to be taking it down. Let's get the stuff inside. Camera's up first. Most important, the nose bag or food bag, and even more important, guys, yes, the wood. We can fold this down, and we built it so that you can stand on it as well. Up we get. I'm in. As you can see, no one's going to fall down it. I built it on a little catch there. Yep. Perfecto. You need a bit of kindling wood to start. I did bring some, obviously, pallet wood with me, because Captain Stupid here didn't realise we got a load of pallet wood there anyway. And anyway, let's whiz some of this up. Burns hot, pallet wood, burns very hot very quickly. This is my favourite axe for kindling wood splitting. In fact, it's not my favourite one. I have a, I call it like a cleaver, really. It's not a cleaver, you've probably seen me use it before. You always check the head. With a cleaver, which is a bill hook really, I can shave it right down, pretty sharp. So if we can get this old guy going. It's got a load of ash. Sometimes fires light better when I've already got some ash in it. I seem to remember Mike telling me that. But while I have my own log burn, I know exactly what it does. This one for me is something different. Let's lock there. I mean, the orange glow is just... Now that's... Which way's open? That way looks like that's closed, that's open. Let's have a look here. There's the lever, open and closed. Just for the safety aspect, people. I could also cook with a gas cooker there, so we've got double options here. We've got the CO2 thing, you know, the old carbon monoxide there. We've got the window here, which we can open, and doubtless will need to, so that gets warm. Uncle Graeme, as Captain Sensible from the boat, High Sea Drifter, brought over the fire extinguisher. It's locked up there, it just pops off, because I quite like candlelight, but we're going to be using this for now. Well, we have some form of lift-off. Have I got enough wood, I ask myself. And then just be cooking before it gets too hot on here. Because that'll smell of dust otherwise. Yeah, it's getting warm already. That's what I find strange, that sort of rubber grummety, whatever it is. It doesn't melt, it's some special thing. Well, I hope it doesn't melt. Already that heat, look, it's brought some creature out there. And even from up here, look at the view. This is where we can do a lot of wildlife watching, filming or whatever. Obviously we've got trail cams up here as well to get wildlife and other wildlife, if you know what I'm saying. So they won't know where the old trail cams are. Quite a lot of woodland owners have got the trail cams up. You can see the holes in the spark arrestor up the top there. And that tells me where the smoke's going, that the airflow is probably slightly northeasterly. Right, let's get inside and I'll show you what the culinary delights of the day are. You won't be surprised. Yeah, we're going to build a wood one, a staircase to come up here. It seems the old girl's on the go now. Oh man, that's throwing some heat out, absolutely. I don't know what brand this one is, but apparently, oh, he's got glass at the side, and he's cleaning off the smoke from when Mike was here. Glass the other side. Going to get some more slates along here, just to block any too much heat off. It's strange, isn't it? I always end up bringing you guys along with me. People think I'm actually talking to myself. I'm not. I'm talking to thousands. 8 YouTubers. Right. How about, no, you're wrong. It's not spaghetti bolognese, is it? Ah, close. Beef ravioli, which I will put a sprinkling of cheese on. I will get my Teflon saucepan. We're looking for stainless. Don't worry, we are looking for stainless. And then we'll talk some fishing things. I just thought, you know, I normally go in the tackle shack. I'm normally in the office, aren't I? In the Totally Awesome office. Or I used to go down the old tackle shack. And I thought, you know, it'd be different just to talk about something in this place, because we've only just finished doing it. Grandchildren love it, obviously. This is a place for grandchildren. and grown-ups. Hopefully we can get enough heat out of this thing. And I've got tea, milk, sugar, usual stuff. But I've got something far more civilised. I bought the tablecloth. That fire is going absolute gangbusters. Crikey O'Reilly, normally that wood would have been gone. And there you can see, look, inside. It's really hot. They've got the central stove part there. I guess that circle for cooking on there. I've moved it to the side and it's still getting bubbled away. Do you know what? I think I'm going to cook this with just that one burn. Wowee. Looking good, smelling good. Let's get the brew on. That's a handy little stove. I'm going to do the kettle as well. In fact, the way that's bubbling away, I think I'm going to switch those over. It's these ravioli. Ravioli, by the way, is not like spaghetti bolognese that has thin strips to it. These are longer, square, but the meat's inside, so you've got to make sure, move it around, as we have been told many times. Use the wooden spoon, Graeme. This is the wooden spoon I won when I went in a pub quiz, by the way. They said a piece of paper at the top, fill in your name, and I thought, what is my name? I don't know. Do I put Graeme? Do I put totally awesome? What should I put down? So I've got the wooden spoon. We can add the cheese now. There we go. That can go in. Stir that up. This go lovely and sticky. Be a bit like sort of melted candle wax, so I'm nearly ready for din-dins. I think that old kettle's not going to be long going. Wow. Do you know, I think we should be dining by candlelight. Blocks, so that the reflect a bit of light as well. But look at that. Oh, it's just like a birthday cake, isn't it? And totally, if I turn it out, the main light, look at that lovely glow that it leaves. Totally different, because at night is totally different. Yeah, that's done. It's serve up time. Certainly not fit for royalty. Steaming the camera lens up. Well, the toast was a no-go, guys. It's just sizzled and sort of started to burn. So it's going to be ravioli on what's going to pass for woodland toast. I know some of you guys always follow my cook-ups and wonder how I survive. There we go. Happy days. Right, bear with me while I burn my moustache off. It's all right. Too hot. Right, talking of hot, Mike bought me a jacket. He knows I go down beach fishing in the winter, this time of year, and I have been beach fishing. Yet to get cold. Right, he's bought me, oh, you think, another jacket? No, darling, it's called a gilet or something. Some sort of, it's a heated vest. But what's it, who's this Jilly? Who's this Jilly guy? It's just a body warmer, isn't it? Anyhow, I'll put my gilet as I go to the restaurant. Can't say what it's got a T. It's got a T. I always say that. It drives me mad. Restaurant. So you think, oh, that's very nice, Graeme. Except it's heated. Now all it runs on is this thing. I'll show you. A battery here, which you can charge up, obviously. An internal pocket here. I've tried it at home. I haven't tried it in the on location. Obviously, charging points here, and you put one of these in, little plug. Put the plug in, tuck it back in the pocket. This probably will get used during the winter quite a bit. Little Velcro tab there. And then on the top here, I can show you, a couple of buttons. It says, as far as I can read, upside down front and back. You might be able to see it, I don't know. There we go. So you've got green. So 2 seconds. Look, you see it go green, red. I'll come in close. Let's tune this one down. You might be able to see it better. Can you see that it's lit up? And I think I'll let you press it for not very warm. I suppose medium or hot, front or back. I've got it on, yeah, full power, why not? So we'll give this 5-10 minutes. The zip's on the other side. I always find that a little bit sketchy because I'm not like that. I like the zip on the man's side. Couple of little pockets there. So there's something for you guys for the winter. It's worth thinking about. And you can feel there's a like sort of padded area in the back, very, very thin. It's not like Michelin Man, you know. I've got sort of stab vest on, have I? It's just a regular one, but you've got to wear something else over the top of it. Otherwise the heat, all gone, isn't it? So loose fitting clothing, anorak, my old Helly Hansen jacket over the top, and that keeps your central body core warm. And that basically, guys, you all know in the winter, that is what it's about. So, just do my twirl. You get me arrested, but I'm in a log cabin, pallet cabin. What do you think? Suits me? Oh, I must accessorise. My gilet with a peaked cap, baseball, and I can double that for warmth with my totally awesome hoodie. It's warm now, and I've got my butt on the cooker. I'll take a step forward. So there you go. That's the first thing to talk about. The other stuff's going to be here when my tea gets cold. I thought I'd mention that. Gilet, or just a body warmer with heating elements. The thing is, just remember to turn it off, Graeme. Right, having said I've been doing beach fishing, this one's all about beach fishing. A quick swig. They do stay hot in these army billy cans, I will say that. Right, I'm going to Grant's Tackle up and pick up some rigs. This one's, well, forget what the make is, it just says 3 hook match rig. So I've been using these. These are size 2 hook. I think Grant said fluorocarbon. Don't do that. Hook in the mouth. I know it's no good because the fish told me. Fluorocarbon, I think. I don't know what the main rig body is. Anyhow, I find them really good just for catching fish. Look, they're all coiled up. However, when I did use them before, and in fairness, look, I've made my own rigs and I still continue to make my own rigs. You do what you want. But when you tot up what you buy and all the bits and pieces, apart from the fact you might take 3 weeks like this to uncoil it. Yes, we've all been there. Do you actually save anything? Or I feel maybe better just pop in a tackle shop. If you're like me, don't do it all the time. If you live on the shore, you're going to, well, not live on the shore, but live by the sea. I don't. I'm 50 miles from the sea, otherwise I'd be there all the time. So, a 3 hook flapper, nothing special about it. There's the lead clip down the bottom. Most important, I feel, if you don't want tangles, is the fact there is a bead either side of the swivel so that this hook bait can swing around. Now, if I'm fishing fast, as it were, and I'm in a bit of a rush and I haven't got much time, I just tie a blood loop on the end, snip that, leave one tag end off, but it will eventually wrap around your main line or your rig body here. So this has got 2 crimps, 2 small crimps, either side of beads there, whether you can see that. I don't know what this is. A new camera for me, so I don't know. Well, new camera's another one of Mike's. 6 or 8 inches of this, but it's snelled or whipped on the hook, okay? And because they must be mass produced, they have this big tag end on the top end of the eye. So if you're using worms, which I do most of the time, I'll try and get this in close up in a minute. If you do use that, I found that a real pain, because if you've got big worms, fine, you can sort of rip them over the eye of the hook. If you're using up, you're getting through the session, you're using medium worms, small worms especially, you thread them around the hook, hook's lovely and sharp, oh, really sharp. You thread it round, you go to pop it over, and it won't pop over. And you squeeze it hard enough that you just burst it and end up with a load of mush. And then, of course, most of the juice is gone. The other thing I think is missing there is a little sequin to stop the worm coming up here, and one of those little sliding rubber stopper knots, which is really good, which the matchman use. So you would thread the worm up, then you would slide the sequin down on the head of the worm there, right? And then you would slide your rubber grip stop level with it, so that when you cast, the worm doesn't blast all the way up the line. In other words, being in this section there, thereby leaving the most important part, the point of the hook, with no bait on it. You want bait on the hook, don't you? I'll see if I can get in close enough to show you with this camera. There we go, there we go, here you can see it. See the tag end sticking up? So basically I'm going to cut that off. Well, won't need to cut it off. I'm going to cut the whole hook off, because it does have a tiny eye there. So that's what I'm going to do. I've only got my pen knife with me, I'll do it as best I can. Never cut on your dining table. But that's what I've been doing, is this, look, right? Just cut that tag end off, and you can get away with it. But when you look, there's a tiny eye there. So why have they done that? I don't know why they've done it. So I'm just going to cut the entire thing off. There's my hook, I quite like the hooks. And I'm going to shave off that whipping like this. Bear with me while I get it off. And then just retie it. There's the 3 hooks off. Give me a second and I'll just retie one. Now, I don't know whether you were going to see that there. I've retied it. Let's forget against that dark background. But it's 90 degrees, the tag end, right? Rather than pointing down to the point of the hook, so it's against the worm when you slide it over, it is at least 90 degrees over. I'm still going to cut and leave a little tiny tag end on, because that also acts as an anchor to hold the worm in place. So I'm going to nip that back shorter. So the tag is just a couple of millimeters sticking up, and the line is better because it's coming, you know, straight onto the eye of the hook, and I shall slide worms over there an awful lot easier than before. I'm going to tie the other 3 on, and then I'm just going to run through a few leads. Fire's, I'll let it burn itself out. Anyway, moving on. I just thought for beginners we'll just run through a few shore leads, just to give you guys an idea of different types available. It's that time I go, most of my beach fishing I suppose really is done November, December, sometimes January, but I hate the cold, I really hate it. That's when I'll be using my gilet. Right, grip leads. Down here on the south coast we get a lot of tides. Usually open beach fishing you don't lose too much gear. Rocky ground you can get tides and still lose gear, so it's a balance whether you want to anchor your bait out there, or if you're on clean sand you might want just a plain bomb and let it bounce around there. Most people I would say now probably use the grip leads. You know, they want to cast out, they want it anchored in one spot. Let's run through these. A standard grip lead here. Now I think these ones called impact leads. So you've got little grooves in there, you've got bent wire, a lovely aerodynamic shape, these ones, there's no question they're a nice shaped bomb and they cast well. They're colour coded, they have different colours for different size weights, whatever you want, and you can tighten up the tension by squeezing these in and pinching them into those. I'll show you if I can. You might not see it in this camera, a little tiny slot there. If I move it slowly like that. You clip your end rig like I've been using there. You clip onto there, whoosh, you cast it all out. Then as you get your hook here, just under there, your bait clip as it were. So you've got your, how can I describe it? This goes to your rig body or central line, which takes all the shock lead as some people call it. And your hook comes down here and rests, I'll show you another one, just in there, just in that gap there. So when you cast out, it's keeping it all nice and neat and aerodynamic, zooming out like that. But as it impacts with the water, it's got, if you can see there, point to it, Graeme. Take notes on this, Smith, take notes, there'll be exams afterwards. See the slot there? When that impacts with the water, it does this, it pushes this up, which has a slot cut in the plastic there, and as it pushes it up, your hook here pops free. So very, very handy. Look, all these leads are not cheap unless you make your own. I make my own, but some of these, if I want an impact lead, you've got to get an impact lead end of. But their impact, you can see, a very clever idea indeed. So that's one. These ones, as I say earlier, are one I prepared earlier, I made myself. You can get the moulds yourself, go online and find some moulds. You mould the lead, you put your eye in it like that, not your own personal eye, otherwise you wouldn't be able to cast out and see where you're going. The eye of the wire loop. You go through here with your wires, you bend them to the required shape, and you can see the little yellow tags there. Again, there's a little recess in here, like that, where that grips. Okay, so if you're not used to it, you're fishing at night, and these are up here, they're not going to locate down there. So just make sure you slide these little nylon catches, if you like, so that they align into the slots there. You can also make it tighter, so it's harder to pull out by bending the wires together like this. Occasionally, if you'll be doing a lot of retrieves on semi-snaggy ground, you will need to rebend them. Pops in like that, so you cast out. Either the tide, the wind, the waves, they pull it nice and tight, it grips in the sand, but when you go to pull in, they trip, bang, like that. So it's easier, look, coming through my hand like that. Obviously, if it was all rigged up like that, I'd be spiking my hand, I couldn't get it through. But they trip like this, pull out the snags or the rocks, and they come back. That is just a homemade one. You can get another one. I think they still make them. We don't hear much about them now, the different one. They're called a Gemini lead. So they got a slightly different angle on it there. See that you have to line those up. Sometimes they turn, they get bent, bring it round, it goes back, and they just go pop, just like that. So they'll all pull out like this. But with these ones, you'd have to tighten up the distance between the short tag end and the main piece of wire there if you did want them really tight. You can see just a bit of pressure, pop. This one's the same, pop. But there's another benefit to these Gemini leads. If you want, quite clever. How do people think these ideas out? It's clever, isn't it? You can use it as a plain lead, or indeed you can get different types of lead and just have the one grip. So I find that's quite a good idea. I don't see them around too much now. I think these are the ones called Gemini lead. Somebody tell me if, I apologise if it's not a Gemini lead, but that's what I call that type, a Gemini lead. There, that's a nice one. Nice one to cast. Out of the two, I like the shape. That's a real bomb shape, that one. So this is another one Grant gave me out the tackle shop. He said, you know, that's a different one he hadn't seen for a while. And we think it's fished in conjunction with these things called imps. So we think your lead clip goes there, you rig up your imp, and if your hook goes in the bend there, just in that bend where you can see that, there's a little bend there, and then when it impacts, this is like a paddle shape, see? The water pushes that back and just disengages the hook. So similar pattern, but neither of us really know what this black cap's for. Is it to help impact with the water? We don't know. But the two fish together, the lead and these imps, which I personally don't use. A lot of people do. I've seen them use them. It depends if you are what they call clipping your bait down or not for distance casting. If you are just doing heave-ho, chuck it out like I do, then you won't need to worry about it. You just chuck the rig out there and hopefully a fish comes along. But for the more enthusiastic distance fishermen, they might want to fish that lead in conjunction with imps. Couple more. What in God's name is this spidery thing? This we use a lot beach fishing and boat fishing where there's a lot of tide. So you cast out, it goes into the seabed, okay? It's very soft wires. So when a fish hooks, with these ones, what can happen, this is mostly bigger fish, you know, that we used to get years ago, it will trip out, right? And you get what's called a slack line bite because the tide starts trundling along and the fish is pulling it along. You get a slack line bite. Sometimes they drop the hook and get rid of it. This way, it's dragging and spiking all the time along the seabed like this. It's dragging and pulling. So as the fish is pulling, that's holding the hook in. So if that makes sense to you, a little bit, well, more awkward to cast, I'm going to say, prone to get bits of weed off the beach. Primarily will be up tiding in a boat, but we do use them occasionally in bigger tides when we want to make sure that a fish moving down tide still retains that hook in there, because these just they bend out like this. Look, I can do it here. They just do this, skid along, so they hold the hook in. Last but not least, you don't have to use a grip lead. You can use a plain bomb of many shapes. There will be in the tackle shops. There's even luminous ones now that you can get an ultraviolet torch and shine on. This is what's called a long tail. Can you see this? The reason being, some of these leads will wobble like this through the air, and it cuts down on a little bit of distance. A plain bomb with a long tail bomb, this acts like a sort of rudder, keeps it nice and straight, flying through the air, and you get a few more yards out of it, allegedly. At my age, it doesn't really matter. If the bait's in the water, I've got a chance. So, with that in mind, shore fishing, let's just whiz over to Grant's, because in Grant's Tackle Up, because I was in there yesterday, and he's got some more tips for shore fishermen. Do not go away yet. So guys, I'm in Grant's Tackle Up, and I've come to pick up a couple of the 3-hook flappers. I've got so many different types in here, but Grant's going to pop up in a minute and just show me, because there's different stuff up here which I've never seen before, different types of baiting needles. So he's just dealing with a customer. He's going to pop up, and it's just something different that you guys, you know, might want to learn about. There's so much here, which reminds me I've got to get some swivels as well. So we'll be up in a second. Don't go away.
Hi Graeme, I know you've been out doing a bit of beach fishing recently, and we were talking about baiting needles and worm fishing, and we had a quick chat, and we thought some of these little bits for beginners to show you. So your basic baiting needle is a point and a hollow bit on the end. So you can, if I open one up, Graeme, we can show the guys it'll be easier.
These are for worms or anything, right?
Well, anything, to be fair. You could feed, generally worm fishing, I use a baiting needle, but you know, even if you're feeding squid onto your line, anything like that. So as you can see, I've got a bit of a point one end. It's not sharp, but it's just pointed, and that end's actually hollow. These are hollow.
Not in my eyes, it's not, right?
You see that?
With this camera, I'll take your word for it, sure. So what's that for?
Okay, so the idea of that is to put the hook point in there, okay?
Yes.
So what you'd do is you'd get your worm out with its lovely pincers, maybe if you're using your ragworms.
Yeah.
You'd feed that into the worm's mouth, if you like.
Yeah, that's
Push
it.
the worm up, that's it, and feed him up the needle.
Yeah.
It can be a messy job, guys. Like 100% it'd be a messy job. You get covered in stuff sometimes. But feed it up, get the worm to there. You then put your hook in there. You hold the line to keep tension on it to this, and then you push the worm around the hook and up and on. Yeah,
so it around,
feeds it up. Okay, but you have to. I used to find it quite complicated when I first started trying to hold that with a bit of tension.
So the point of the hook goes in there. Oh, I got it now.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
So I feed the worm on here.
Yes.
All the way on.
Yeah.
Then I have my point and my hook on there and a bit of
the
line.
pin's hanging round with the line.
So what I do is, with this one hand then, I pull the tension on the line to here.
Yes.
Which makes that sort of curve.
Yes.
It keeps it tight. And then with my left hand, it gives it free to push the worm up here. But you might find as you push and you go around the bend of the hook, you've got the knot.
Yes.
Help that feed around the knot bit, and then just push it, and you'll get your whole worm up above the hook.
Oh, really?
All right, you can leave a bit shy hanging and stick the hook through, so it's sitting out. But I generally feed a few worms up if I can. Depends what I'm fishing for, really. You know, if you're fishing for small stuff, you probably don't even need the baiting needle, because you'll have a piece of a worm. Yeah. Put the hook on it, thread it around the hook, job done. So but that's just an easy way of fishing like a whole ragworm.
I'm calling that a worm one then.
Yeah,
worm baiting.
A worm bit, but they won't. You still push squid, mackerel,
strip,
bluey,
sandhill stuff,
anything like that. That's another version with a little handle, so it's a bit different.
Same principle.
Same principle. So spike one end with a hollow point, and then that's just in a fluorescent UV colour. So if you can make it glow, so if you drop it on the beach at night, you can still see it, which is quite good. So the other style are these, which look really funny. A bait prong, basically. So again, 2 sharp points. Yeah. And 1 hollow point. I don't know if you can see it on the camera.
Yeah, I can see it now. I've got it. Yeah.
So the hollow point to stick the hook in, but what I'm going to do is either, I don't know if you can zoom on that.
Yeah,
so this is a bit of a demonstration. So you put your bait onto the spike. Yeah. So whether it be a strip of bluey, squid, mackerel. Yeah. And then you'll band it. You'll put your hook into here as well with your line. Yeah. And then
would you put the hook in first with a bit of line down it?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
And then slot let's say a sandhill of squid, for argument's sake.
Yeah. So put your sandhill of squid. Don't necessarily even have to put it in the prongs. You can rest it on the top.
I see. Yes.
But the idea of the prong is just to make it stop moving. Yeah. Yeah. And then put your bait elastic on and wrap it up.
Yeah.
Right, and you think I do it, and when you pull that off, boom, nice and tight, and you end up with a beautiful straight little thing sat up the line, whether you mixed it with.
So it's handy for distance casting.
For distance casting. So basically, you can get all your baits nice and tight and streamlined because you're relying on the fish looking for scent. They probably can't see out there where it's dark, deep water, especially fishing at night. They're not going to see nothing. They are purely using their senses, smell and everything. So but these ones are by Tronics. Everybody does them. Tronics. I don't remember what that one is.
Can't read it. Right.
No, Raggett, I think it's called.
And different sizes in these.
Different sizes, yeah. So if you're using very small baits and you still want to wrap them up tight, you've got a small needle version. That's the big version. And they also come with these little covers to keep them nice and
I popped in, as I was telling them earlier, pick some hooks up, so I've been getting on with that okay with these. So that smaller version there, as you said, what, size 2?
Size 2,
there?
yeah, perfect.
So size 2, guys, that's the size you want for that, would I be right?
For the smaller ones, and this would be for the bigger baits, so really larger baits, smaller, well, big hooks, big baits, small hooks, little baits.
Gotcha.
Alright, so that's just a quick run through. I think maybe what we'll do one day, I'll get messy on the camera for you guys and I'll get some squid and mackerel and blueies out and we'll do some wraps. Yeah, so it
shows the beginners how it's done.
I might do it slightly wrong because it's not my everyday. But so another thing as well I get asked for is I can't see my bites at night on the beach.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a battery powered one. You can either whip it on or elastic band it on or glue it in place. 3 batteries and that's a blue flashing light.
Yep.
So I think you guys probably see them. Twist on the end, you turn it on, it's a bright blue light. Got another one again. You can whip it top and bottom, or you can, to be honest, if you're using them temporary, you can just tape them on for the night.
Don't interfere with the casting or anything, no?
No, not at all. Don't get me wrong. Any tip light, guys, you could have a point where if you had a bit of a wrap up, I have witnessed my friend breaking his rod accidentally when the braid caught it and done it, but I've not personally had a problem.
Yes.
You know, and the other thing I generally do, I'll have to come out and do a beach session and show you my little setup on the beach because I struggle with bending up and down. So I've got a little stand that goes on the side of my tripod.
Oh, yes,
So I do everything on a little table. I've even got a light that I switch on. It shines up under the rod. So people mix reviews about shining lights on the water and that thing. For me, if I'm fishing hailing places like that, I've got a line of flats behind me shining lights.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not worried at all. I found that when I shine the torchlight off the tripod, which I've put on, there's like a head torch attached to it.
Yes.
You see every single eye with the line going through it.
Oh, really?
I have a tip light. When you get a bite, you see the whole rod moving, whereas at night you struggle to see.
Just to look the tip, I did last night.
I found it stops my eyes dancing and looking at nothing. I generally find to hit the bite. So we'll have to show you that little setup that I do sometime. So.
Oh, brilliant. I appreciate that, Grant. Thank you very much for that. If people did want to know, I was just saying you've got a good range of sea stuff, beach stuff in there. Occasionally you get in, you got all the frozen stuff, you get the odd light go out.
Yeah, odd light go, there you go, we're back now.
You do batteries as well?
We do.
But you get black lug wraps and stuff like that?
So I'll be straight. This time of year at the moment, or this year in general, has been really hard for black lug for guys that are not on the coastline. It seems to be hard to get hold of. But when I get the option to buy it, I will buy so much we'll have enough for the rest of the winter. Yeah. But generally, I would always have some form of worm. I'm generally frozen bait, so squid, mackerel, blueies. There we have old crab. There's a bit of everything in the freezer. Yeah. And again, normally get black. We don't even know live worms, so it'll all be frozen. So
but it gets you by on beach trips.
Gets you by on a beach trip in the winter. It's given me bites, and I've caught fish in the middle of the dead of winter. So it's good enough.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Grant.
Right. So another little thing we've come up with regular questions is struggling to unhook maybe a dogfish on the beach. They can be a nightmare for twisting, they go right down. So my favourite for unhooking a dogfish is a T-bar. Okay, this is a little mini match T-bar. Mine are stupidly expensive because they're made of 316 stainless, so they do not rust. These ones, they're very good. Yeah. So the idea of this is when the fish has engulfed it further than I can reach. Most people
with pliers and stuff,
like a full set pliers, you just can't get it. So you'd think it'd never work. This little T-shaped piece of metal. You'd place it onto the line, pull it down onto the fish, and as you pull, give it a jerk, and it generally just twists the hook, turns the hook, and it falls out. And it's nowhere in sight, it's nowhere near the hook.
And of course, bearing in mind, freshwater anglers might think, well, just use barbless, mate. It's not really prevalent, is it, the barbless in the sea fishing scene?
No, so even if it was a barbless hook, it still would have engulfed it as far as it did, and you still wouldn't get it out.
You can't turn it over.
You can't turn the hook over. You can't physically get to it. So that's one style. This is a bigger style we generally use on the boats. So this is called a push and pull. Yeah. Okay, so if you hooked a bigger fish on the outside and you can't get the hook out, you can get the hook inside that bit and push it.
Yeah.
Or you can pull, or I generally find that same thing again, on the line, pull the line down,
yes.
an angle, and
jerk,
and it knocks off. So that's, you know, cutlet, so that's a big one. I've got various different sizes. This looks really strange. It's like a traditional sort of disgorger.
Yeah.
But you put the slot, the line into here, follow it down, and where they've got these sort of plasticky bits, it just gets hold of it and then just push down and pull and it come out. But that is probably hard. That's probably easy when it's just inside the mouth. You just can't get to it.
Yeah.
I use a T-bar thing, go for
it. Deeper, yeah.
So this one you might feel the weight of that going. Your finger feels a bit strange. It's quite heavy.
Handle heavy,
isn't it? It is a
good night Vienna.
Yes.
Yeah, if you want to keep the fish.
There you go. So that's what that's for there. Another type.
We're talking sea fishing, guys.
We are talking sea
not
fishing.
Carp fishing.
Not carp fishing. So another type there, you see, this is just a metal rod up here with a plastic outline.
That's the one I got, I think.
Yeah, so you put your line through there on the loop, follow the line down,
yeah,
push and then pull the hook out.
Oh,
Alright, so just a couple of silly little ones. But maybe I'll try, I don't know if I can rig something up. I think we could hook the dog up to do it really. So maybe we'll have to show you on a live fishing show maybe sometime with how to unhook a dogfish. So, but there's a few little versions for you to look at.
Well, some great tips on there, especially that weird plastic disgorger, which you can also turn around and pop any fish you want to keep on the head. I haven't seen one of those, but what do I know about modern tackle? I haven't got any idea really. I just go fishing, catch the fish, and that's it. Interesting tips from Grant. Thanks, Grant. I appreciate that. So, thanks for watching this issue of Totally Awesome Fishing Show come everything. It depends how I feel. I might even take another one on the end of it. So, see what's coming next. If not, don't forget, TA Fishing, TA Outdoors, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget, hit notification bell on both channels, otherwise you won't know what's going on. And listen, people, if you want to see, this is recent, this is really recent, this build. If you want to see how we built this, go to TA Outdoors and you'll see 6 or 8 films ago, you'll see us starting 3 different builds of it. You know, probably the middle build, second build and the third build will be the more interesting ones for you. But, you know, we've started literally from the ground up. So if you do want to see this pallet tree house that we built, all homemade, no plans, we didn't know what we were doing, nails, screws, pallet wood, straightening nails, everything. Mike's oak flooring from an old tree that we had Ryan the tree surgeon cut up for us, and he milled it with, I think they call it Alaska sawmill, where they put the chains. You can look on our channel, I think we got it on ours, or Mike's, where they put a great big long ladder down and run the chainsaw down there. Very hard work. Looks a bit sketchy to me, not for me. That's why you pay the tree surgeon, isn't it? But we'll see you in the next film. Hopefully next Friday I'll get something together. Hope you guys have a good week and get out there fishing. Is that fire out? Can I smell burning? Sorry about this, Mike. Oh, different type of burning. And don't forget, we've actually got the tree growing through the roof of the tree house. And just look at the view, the autumn view through the window. Beautiful leaves there. Well, great bit of fun I had with Mike building that. Yes, a lot of work, most definitely a labour of love, but listen, you're out in the outdoors, you're with your son, you're working away, what's not to enjoy? Plus, the grandchildren get to enjoy it as well, and indeed, the rest of the family. So, thanks for watching the Totally Awesome Fishing Show. Don't forget, if you want to see the full build of this tree house, stilt house, call it what you like, go over to Mike's channel, TA Outdoors. He's only just literally put one up on the whole full build together. So it's a sort of, I guess, like a speeded up, potted version. We'll see you in the next one. Fingers crossed. No more blanks, please. Give us a break, you know. It's how it happens, I know, but I could do with a bit of that. See you next time.